So without further ado, I will call Stuart Green, who's a marine scientist who's been based regionally for the last 25 years, to give us his presentation on artificial intelligence and analytics. Thank you.
Could we get the TV on? That's right. I think they work out. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope you had a good lunch with the beautiful food here. So I'm back here again with my partners in crime, Farid Maroof, and then Vincent Nguyen in the corner, and then Frankie, if he's somewhere around. Frankie was the great Indonesian song last night in the karaoke, so you can't miss him. Cool. So today I'm gonna present. Are we good? Okay. I don't have any slides. So today I'm going to talk about some of the work that we shared yesterday, which was looking at the use cases, but I'm going to go a bit more into detail, looking at basically what Farid and myself have been doing is talking to some of you here, but also many different stakeholders across the region. Cool. There we go. Looking at what are some of the barriers, some of the opportunities, and some of the emerging solutions we've seen around AI, AA, and machine learning across the region. Okay, so I'm sure everyone knows, but Indo-Pacific is a very important place in many aspects. You've got more than 50 million fishers in the region and their families, which rely on the oceans. You've got a lot of hotspot areas, whether it's fish crime, whether it's IUU fishing, or whether it's human and labor rights. It really is a hotspot. So a very important place, and that's why we've been looking at it. So as I mentioned earlier, we've conducted over 50 interviews now. We've had some focus group discussions, and we've looked at 90 of the different platforms and technologies in the region. But as we've learned today, we've actually missed quite a few. So we've been learning a lot over the last 2 days. So it's been really, yes, very inspiring, actually, being at the forum. Okay, so we're in a very interesting time. So this is what we call the sixth wave of innovations. So if we go back to the 1800s in good old Victoria, England, we had the water power, the textiles, and then we moved on. We had steam, then we had rail, and then we had moved on to electricity, chemicals, petrochemicals. We've had the internet, we've had the digital internet, but now we're moving into the age we hope of, well, AI, robots, and hopefully a lot more clean tech coming. But what I'd like to point out is if you look at the height of the waves and the speed, so this wave is coming much faster and is going to be a lot more disruptive than the previous one. So we're in a really interesting space globally. So this is what we've been kind of looking at. So, and regional fisheries management is very complex. Many stakeholders, many fisheries, many habitats, and that's something that AI and machine learning has the potential to really help with. It's very good at that kind of managing that complexity. So, and what we found as we've looked through all the solutions that are coming is that government, business in particular, and business, industry, and academia is doing quite a good job of adopting some of those technologies. But what we've seen is that the fisheries sector, the NGO sector, and government are quite far behind in the adoption and creating the enabling environment for this disruption that's coming fast down the tube. So we do see lots of good experiments going on, but and there's a few good use cases, but again, there's a lot more potential in this region to do a lot more work. So let's dive into some of our findings. So I'm sure some of you have seen the Pope in his puffer jacket. So, and I'm not sure if some of you have seen some of the news networks that have been set up that are basically AI bots that are throwing out a bit of mis and disinformation. So I guess one of the big issues that we're seeing is the potential for misuse of AI. And currently, globally, let alone regionally, there's very few guardrails or policies in place to really guide some of what's going on in the AI machine learning space. So Europe has just come out with its first policy. California has just put out a new policy on AI, but we've got less than 40 policies globally that look at managing those guardrails around AI. So I think I would point to the upcoming elections we should have a look and see what happens in the upcoming elections, because we have a feeling there's going to be lots of misuse, perhaps, let's say, of fake news and fake all kinds of things coming. So that's some of the risks and challenges we see with the use of AI in the region. If we look at the Indo-Pacific as a whole, here's a nice chart that kind of lays out how ready the governments of the region are for AI. So this came out in 2022. So I just highlight some of the region's countries are quite low in the scoring. But if you look down to the bottom, Singapore is number 2. So what, as a region, if we think from an ASEAN or Indo-Pacific perspective, what can we learn from what Singapore is doing to get ready for this the innovation as it comes along? So I just wanted to highlight that one. So conclusions and next steps. From our end, there's definitely lots of opportunities in the region for AI, but it needs to be very nicely aligned, and there needs to be clear use cases. Lots of experimentation going on, but what are the real use cases that are really working? And I think the conference has begun to highlight some of the opportunities around marketplaces and some of those use cases. So really kind of understanding them and aligning them will be really important. Bias in models, we've heard about quite a lot about that. So really, again, back to how do we get the guardrails in place to make sure that the data is being used is mindful of that. And then, of course, gender, equity, considerations as well around the data that's being used. We think there's a great opportunity for collaboration. What we've seen so far is there's a few NGOs doing some work over here, there's some industry over here, there's some community work over here, but no one is really coming together. The kind of sectoral aspect the groups are not really talking so well together as well. So there's an opportunity around that. And of course, getting a model up and running and then iterating around that. So our main recommendation coming out of the work from looking at all these case studies is we see a great opportunity to really establish a safe, collaborative, and adaptive ecosystem, which means regional, but also at the local level, where these different sectors can get together and can kind of co-create together solutions that work across the innovation space. So that's one of our main recommendations. But that ecosystem needs to have a very clear purpose. So it's not just setting up a group for the sake of it, but how do we create a social good ecosystem with a very clear purpose behind it? And again, as I said, regionally, so learning regionally, but also with localized hotspots in each of the different areas that engage the different stakeholders. I think that's it from me. So next steps for us, I think the big thing that's going to change in the Indo-Pacific is Elon and the satellites are coming. So that's going to really change the access, the amount of data you can access, the price you can access it for. And of course, it means that for the last 20 years, we've been trying to work out what's really going on at sea. All of a sudden, connectivity is going to come across the whole region, whether you're on land or 200 miles offshore. So that's the kind of one of the big drivers we think coming soon. So we've got our report coming out soon. So as I said yesterday, grab us or click a QR code I'm going to share in a minute, and we'll happily share that with you. We're just beginning another bit of work to look at who's using the cloud and what is the cloud in the region and what does that mean for each of the countries, because we think the cloud usage is going to really ramp up. So what are the security and privacy issues around the use of the cloud in the region? And we've got some organizing some trainings and some activities. So as I said, yesterday, if you have any great ideas or opportunities, come grab anyone on the team and we'd like to hear more about that. So I think that's it. So there's the QR code if anyone's interested to subscribe up. I'll send you the slides and we'll send you the report later on. And then, yeah, let's just talk and together maybe we can learn more and see if we can come up with some more really good use cases for the region. Thank you very much.